it's up to you.
All right, we have covered a lot of ground and going to be shifting gears a little bit for this segment. Out there crisscrossing the state, and of course I'm talking about independent businessman Gary Landrieu, who's with us. And what's happening, Gary? Good morning.
Good morning, Louisiana.
Yeah, so welcome. So now you've been in the race officially for a few weeks, right?
I have, yeah.
And
2 months.
Yeah, 2 months. Mm-hmm. And you've got your bus now.
Got the bus, billboards, lawn signs, big signs.
Mm-hmm. Give me your reaction. Tell us what people have been saying to you.
I approach people in public and I ask them who they're voting for governor, and they look like they're puzzled because they're not sure that there's a governor's election coming. And I say, well, you know, it'll be here on October 12th, and who are you going to vote for? And they say, well, we don't know who's running. Yeah. And I say, well, you can vote for me. I'm Go Gary. They say, Go Gary, we saw your sign. Yeah. We like you. We want to build the border wall. We want to deport the illegal aliens. We want to protect our statues, and we don't want to be poor anymore, because that's the theme of our campaign is Po No Mo.
Yeah.
Now, you asked me why Louisiana's last. I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah, go ahead.
57 of them have been convicted and going to jail over the last 30 years. 57, including the governor, mayors, judges.
St.
Tammany president.
DA.
You go down the list. You can Google it if you
Sheriff
like to.
arrested.
Jeff Hingle, who was a friend of mine over in Plaquemine. I was like, Jeff, what are you doing? You had money. Why are you going to steal more?
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense. It was almost like a culture of, well, you know, we have an opportunity to take more, and let's just get more. And it just, that's the reason why we have failed, because we're poor and our leadership has failed.
Because I point out in the column the history, the culture, the architecture, the people, the geographic advantages, the sportsman's paradise, the fun, the festivals, the Mardi Gras, all the different things that attract 51 million tourists a year.
We produce 40% of the oil and gas in America. Yeah. We produce 40% of the seafood in America. We have the largest port in the world, the biggest tourist city in the world. We have the largest concentration of petrochemical plants in the world. There's no reason for us to be poor.
Right.
There's a disconnect.
All of those various advantages that we have, yet you look at the list and we're last.
That's correct. We're last.
You're last. And do you think a lot of this is that people just have this laissez-faire, le bon temps roulé, you know, let the party, you know, let's get to Mardi Gras, let's keep it rolling type of attitude?
Well, from my perspective, and President Trump had the same perspective, the system is rigged. Every time I read the articles in the news, it's about Risponi this or Abraham this and John Bell this. They never mention my name. And the reason they don't want to mention my name is because they don't want to see Gary get elected, because Gary might upset their little apple cart of what's been going on for the last 50 years. Yeah. And I guarantee you I'm going to do that. The apple cart's getting spilled out. People starting to ask me if I'm going to drain the swamp in Baton Rouge. Yeah. I assure you I will. So the system's rigged against you. They want to know when your commercials are going to be running on TV, because if you don't have $10 million, you're not a legitimate candidate. It's very difficult to mount a credible campaign in the eyes of the media, but not so much in the eyes of the public, because the public sees you out there and they get a sense and feeling of who you are and what you're all about.
Because you've got the bus and you got the billboards and you got the yard signs.
When they shake your hand, they realize you're a real person. And they look in your eyes and they realize you're saying what's truthful. And you believe in your country and you believe in the Constitution. And you got an 8-year-old son. He told me, Dad, I hope you do really well on that show this morning with Jeff. And I'm sorry I couldn't be there, he told me. I dropped him off for a little rest.
Last time he came with you.
Yeah. Tell me to tell you hello.
Well, he's a great guy, and you've done a great job.
Thank you.
He's a fine young man. 504-556-9696. Gary Landrieu with us, Jeff Crouere here. It's Ringside on WGSO, talking about the governor's race. So you've got a new ad, and it's all about the monuments. Tell us about it.
I thought long and hard about what's the message of the campaign, and the campaign message is really about people who think that the voters aren't important, the people who think that the taxpayers aren't important, the people who think that it's all about the government, what the government wants to do. And that example was displayed when the monument was removed, when Robert E. Lee was removed and Jeff Davis was removed. That attitude towards the public was really on display. They went out in the middle of the night, tore the statues down. They lied about what they were going to do. They spent $2.5 million of public money, and they lied about that. And they really betrayed the trust between government and the people, because what they could have done was really just ask the people what they wanted to do. I spent my entire life walking around the statue under Robert E. Lee. We didn't call him Robert E. Lee. We called it Lee Circle. Yeah. We really didn't make a connotation between him and slavery and all that stuff. And I never heard one person ever complain about that.
Right.
Honestly.
So it was taken down. Your cousin was the one who did it.
He did it.
And a lot of people would say, well, wow, Gary, you're taking on your cousin there.
Well, let me tell you a little secret. Gary Landrieu went to Tulane. He graduated from Tulane University, and the worst mistake they made was to give me an education. Because I grew up in Gentilly, and Gentilly, we are a rough and tumble neighborhood, and we know how to fight for ourselves, and we know how to protect the things that we believe in. Over on the other side of town, Mitchell's neighborhood, they were a little softer and, a little more protected, and they have a little more understanding about government. They love government, and they rule and government this and government that. And we're not so much about all of that. We think government's a big problem in this world.
So, in your view, if you're elected governor, no more monuments coming down?
We're going to lock it in law. I got to tell you why I made this decision.
Yeah.
I was standing in front of Jackson's statue in Jackson Square with my little boy about 2 months ago, and there was a group of people next to me. And one guy was leading this tour of about 30 people, and he announced to them that this statue is coming down next. And I thought to myself, who is this guy? What is he doing here in my city, and why is he tearing my statues down?
That's what the tour guide was saying?
Well, it wasn't really a tour guide. He was one of those antagonists from out of town.
Oh, okay.
But his
take
group,
him down NOLA or whatever?
Well, I'm not sure if he was with them, but obviously he was.
Pointing to Jackson's.
That one's coming down next, he said. And I thought to myself, well, Andrew Jackson's also at the foot of the U.S. Capitol. They're going to remove him too? Who's next? Washington? So the whole thing really isn't just about our one statue. It's about all the history of America, and it's about America itself and what America represents. And America is about freedom for the individual and independent success and the American dream. And most people think the American dream is to get a house with a picket fence, and that's not really what the American dream. That's the byproduct of it. But the real American dream is to have your own business and be your own boss and work for yourself and to become wealthy if you can, or prosperous. And that's really what the American dream is, and that's what Americans should strive for. Unfortunately, in the climate of the world today, it's very difficult to start a business. It's very difficult to succeed on those lines anymore because of the government regulations and things.
Our friend Matthew in Metairie is on. Welcome aboard, Matthew. Good morning.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you for actually questioning a gubernatorial candidate.
Yes.
I noticed, Mr. Landrieu, that your page doesn't have any issues, so I'm going to ask you a couple of issue questions and your stances on them.
Okay.
Constitutional carry in the state of Louisiana.
Question is?
Constitutional carry.
It's in the Constitution. You can carry a gun. Why is there a question about it?
Because if your coat happens to cover it up, it's now concealed. And if you don't have permission from the government, they'll take you and put you inside a cage.
I don't think you should need permission from the government to carry a gun, concealed or unconcealed. And I don't think you should have to pay $300 to get a permit from the government. You don't need a permit to have freedom of speech, and you don't need to take a special training class to use your freedom of speech, and you shouldn't have anything different for the other freedoms that are guaranteed us in the Bill of Rights.
Very good. Okay, now the next question. Marijuana legalization.
That's a difficult question because I'm not a proponent for everybody smoking weed. But I am a proponent for people doing what they want to do. If you have a free country, then you're free to do what you want. As long as you're not infringing on anybody else's business and you're not causing problems for other people, you go ahead and do what you want. You want to smoke weed, you smoke weed. Don't do it when you're driving. It's kind of like alcohol. You're not supposed to be drinking and driving either. So, don't do it in public because people are begin to complain. They go around, they smell weed everywhere. So, you have to have some responsibility to the things that you do. But, yeah, you should be free to do what you want.
So should you be able to do it in public at an event, in front of kids and so forth?
I don't think in front of kids, no.
All right.
Okay. Well, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you very much for your answers. By the way, put some issues up on your website.
Okay, we will.
You be innovative because none of the other candidates do. They're just saying, vote for me because I'm not John Bell Edwards.
Yeah.
I got you. GoGaryGovernor.com. The website if you want to go see some interviews and different things.
All right. Give us the website again.
GoGaryGovernor.com.
Okay. Cocaine, heroin, what about hard drugs? Should those be legalized?
I can't see how that's going to promote any good in our community or our society to have people doing drugs that would cause hallucinogenic responses or, I don't think that's a good thing. No, absolutely not. Cocaine should not be legal. It's a class 5 narcotic, and it's designed for medical use only.
You've talked about one of the first things you want to do is give a tax cut to the people of Louisiana.
When you cut taxes, you actually get more revenue.
Yeah.
Democrats don't understand that theory. They can't believe it really works. When you cut taxes, you get more money. Now, I'm not saying I want to cut the taxes to get more money, but now the people of Louisiana are way overtaxed. They're trying to find schemes to pay less and less tax. An example of is a long time ago, about 20 years ago, the city of New Orleans passed a $100 car automobile tax.
Right.
And so you know what everybody did? They registered their cars in Metairie. So not only did it cost them the $100, but it also cost them the 4%, half of the sales tax that they used to collect. Americans are smart people, and they're going to find ways to get around the little games that the government plays. Let's just play fair with the people. Let's do a fair amount of sales tax that has to cover the government's responsibilities to provide the services that the government's required to provide. After that, give the money back.
Hey, Ronald is checking in with us in Lakeview. What's happening, Mr. Ronald? Good morning. Welcome.
Let me just say this to Gary Landrieu. It's quite expensive to buy TV commercials, isn't it? Doesn't it cost a whole
Well, no, it just
lot of
depends on how
money
many you buy.
to purchase airtime on the TV? And that's where a lot of the candidates go on television, don't they?
There's 64 parishes in Louisiana, 5 million people. So, yeah, you can easily spend a lot of money on TV. That's correct.
Right. And if you don't spend that money on TV commercials, people don't know who you are.
Well, that's not necessarily true in the world of social media today, because you can go on Facebook and you can get 9,000 hits on your Facebook page, and those 9,000 people can talk to another 8 or 10,000 people, and pretty soon 50,000 people have seen your message, and those 50,000 people tell another.
Television isn't what it used to be. I mean,
it's $340 to run a 30-second ad on Channel 8.
Yeah.
At the 6 o'clock news and the 5 o'clock news.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a bit of money, isn't it?
It's pricey, but they reach 50, 60,000 people with each commercial.
Right. Do you have that kind of money to buy those kind of ads, Gary?
We don't have it today, but there's going to be some donors that step up and help our campaign in the future. As soon as people start demanding that the issues that I am presenting to the public, they're going to want the results that I'm offering, and they're going to understand that when Gary Landrieu gets elected governor, he's going to do what he said he was going to do. Why aren't we the Las Vegas of the South? Mm-hmm. Why not? Why don't we have 15 to 20 casinos over here and collecting billions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of jobs? Why hasn't it never happened here? Mm-hmm. I'm going to make that happen. Mm-hmm.
Well, we got casinos here, but we're not getting our share of money.
We got one casino.
Yeah.
What about all the riverboats and all?
It's not the same thing as Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. They finally let the riverboats. Well, they're still in the water. I think.
Guess where they went? They went to Mississippi. Mm-hmm. So Mississippi is gaining money from the stuff that we lose here. They just move across the border to the Gulf Coast.
I just drove to Mississippi this morning to drop my little boy off at my sister's house in past Christian, and the highways were like glass. And I come back up Highway 90, man, I got to hold on. It's so bumpy. It's unbelievable.
Right. Roller coaster ride.
They keep up their infrastructure in Mississippi.
Well, you know how I win this campaign is one voter at a time. I only need 300,000 votes to make the runoff. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I got 52,000 the last time I ran for the Senate. I got 72,000 the first time I ran for the House of Representatives. And so the votes are there. And the people are not attached to candidates at this point. So it's a matter of me connecting to them and connecting my message. And you can help me do that by telling your friends to go to our website and check us out.
Okay.
All right, my friend. Hey, appreciate you.
Donate some money.
That's Ronald in Lakeview. The website again?
GoGaryGovernor.com.
Candidate for governor, Gary Landrieu is with us. And now Mark is with us in Metairie. What's happening, Mark? Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. I'm going to be brief, and I'm going to be facetious here. I hear you, say, something about, one should not smoke marijuana while driving. One should not smoke marijuana out in the public, especially around children. How do you feel about cigarettes, that one should not smoke cigarettes around children and then not in the public as well, too? Thank you. Like I said, I'm being facetious.
I hear you. Well, that's already a law. You're not supposed to smoke a cigarette within 50 foot of children, and particularly in your car. That's already a law in Louisiana. I don't know if you're aware of that. You're a parent. You're smoking in the car with your kid. 5 years later, they got asthma. They're in a hospital, children's hospital, every weekend with the breathing medication because they got asthma, and you gave it to them. Come on.
We know that marijuana is extremely dangerous for young people. I mean, it leads to all kinds of cognitive problems and health problems. Study after study after study has proven that. So it's not something you should be doing around kids. It's not something the kids should be doing.
And nothing we should be promoting for everybody to be doing.
Jeff, Democrats in Louisiana have many of the same priorities the DNC has, including letting illegals vote. Please try to discourage Mike Yenny from running for re-election. Aside from sexting, he failed to put up a fight to save the baby cakes, failed to keep Smoothie King here in Metairie, destroyed Metairie Mardi Gras, and his Kenna mayor let the Esplanade Mall go to pot. So not a fan of Mike Yenny. Any thoughts on the DNC agenda, the Democrat agenda?
I don't know what country they live in or what history they studied, but America is not about what the Democrats talk about or what they want to do. And I can't understand why is that they want to destroy what we have. We have the most wonderful, the most glorious, the most compassionate, the most generous, the greatest people in the history of humankind. And the Democrats seem to just want to destroy our country and destroy these people and all the things that we've accomplished. And I have to tell you, to all the old people that I talk to, I go in the malls and the shopping centers and the supermarkets. They ask me, Gary, please save our country. We didn't work hard and scrimp and save and go through the depression so that we can throw our country in the garbage can for illegals crossing the border, swimming over here with diphtheria and whatever they carry, and it's ridiculous.
What should happen to all these illegals?
They got to go home. You want to hear a story? I'll tell you a little story. 2 weeks ago, I took my little boy to Water World over in Mississippi, and we got our swimsuits on. He was all excited, and so we got on the thing to go up the slip and slide. You got to go like 10 flights of stairs. Waited about an hour in line. Oh, my God. You got the red line and the green line. Well, we got in the green line because we wanted to go in the green one. So we got up there, and all of a sudden at the top, when we were about to get on, we realized we were in the wrong line. And he said, Daddy, I don't want to go in that one. I'm scared. And I said, well, let me ask the guy. I said, you mind if we jump on the other side and the other line and go down the other side? He said, I'm sorry, but you have to go back down the bottom and get back in line. All we want to do is just jump right here. It wouldn't be fair to the rest of the people. Mm-hmm. And I looked at my little boy, and he looked at me, and I said, well, Will, he's right. It's not fair to the other people who waited in line to get up here for us to cut in front of them. So we're going to go down the red one. I'll hold you real tight so you won't be scared. And that was the lesson of life. You got to get in line and do it the right way.
Do it the right way. Follow the rules.
The right way. Mm-hmm. Not fair to the people who've done it the right way. Our generation. At
Waterworld, they take the rules more seriously than our immigration agents do, I guess.
There's a scheme and a plot actually to destroy America with the immigration system. They want to bring these people over here. They want to bankrupt our welfare system. They want to have everybody speaking Spanish. They want to put them on the rolls so they can vote. And pretty soon, the Democrats have been in power for 80 years, and they don't want to lose power. They're desperate now. They'll do anything to keep power.
Including allowing this country to be invaded.
It's an invasion. It's absolute invasion.
Hello, Gary, Landrieu, Deacon Chris Schneider from St. Paul's. Man.
My man, Chris Schneider, my old friend. I remember that night you ran over that car over there on the beat of Money Hill Highway. Almost killed everybody in your Cadillac.
Yeah.
Thank God he blessed you and keep you from being killed that night.
The Lord had mercy with that 1,000-pound bull not going through the windshield.
Oh, man. I always remember that about you. How's your brother doing, Pete? He's still in office?
No, he's not. He is at the Brickyard working. And
they own St. Joe Brickworks.
Oh, yeah. I know Pete Schneider well. Yes.
This is Chris's brother.
Yeah.
I got a question for you with regard to abortion. I was listening earlier, just curious as to your stance on, do you agree that abortion should be legal, or do you agree that it should be illegal?
What the legislature and what the governor did recently was the first step to making abortion a very uncommon event, because I think abortion... Would
you have signed that bill like Governor Edwards did, the fetal heartbeat bill?
Absolutely. I think that's the first step. I went to a birthday party for my little boy at
Chuck E. Cheese?
Laser tag. And she was pregnant, 8 months pregnant, and we had a 1-hour conversation about abortion. And at the end of the conversation, we both agreed that the interests of the baby outweigh the interests of everybody else. Your interest, my interest, her interest as a mother. The baby is the baby, and you cannot kill the baby because the mother killing the baby is just a horrible thing for the mother to do. And I don't know what these people are doing. They go on TV and they got blood coming out of themselves in front of the churches, and they're wearing organ hats around. I mean, I never. It's insanity.
What do you make of it, Deacon Chris?
It's like a living horror story. It's like something off of a terrible movie. So many people seem to be blinded to the fact that these are living beings.
Yes.
We were 16. They put us in L5 and they showed us the abortion film as Christians.
Yep.
And from that day forward, I never believed that abortion was something that should be going on.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
Well, the other flip of the coin is you're going to do about all the babies being born. I don't think that's going to be a problem. You got plenty of couples that want to adopt children. That's never a problem.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, so many can't have children and would give them homes. I mean,
Chris, it's really good to hear from you. I'm happy that you called into the show. You've inspired me.
Well, thank you, Gary.
Yeah.
Praying for you and for everyone that runs for office, brother.
Prayers are powerful, my friend. Very
Thank
powerful.
you, Chris.
Yeah,
hey, thanks for your call. Good to hear from you.
You bet.
Tell your brother I said hi. Brian in Metairie. What's happening, my friend? Good morning. Welcome.
Mr. Crouere, thank you, and thank you for having this guest on.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
I sure hope that day comes when I can say Governor Landrieu.
Thank you, sir.
He's trying.
I just heard a news story. I was listening to American radio, family radio. In Texas, Joe, just talking about Texas. The ratio is now 9-1, 9 Hispanic to 1 white. In 2023, the Hispanics will outnumber whites in such a large number that there's no way Texas is going to stay a Republican state. It's just not going to happen. And I'm just wondering, where are the Republicans, if he wins this next election, after him, have they started grooming somebody as a Republican candidate so they can start building them up, because it's going to be a hell of a fight?
Well, the Democrats have a scheme now. It's the immigration scheme, and they're going to succeed if we don't start deporting these people. Building a wall is one thing. That's part A. But part B is they got to go home, they got to get back in line, and they have to get off our welfare system. They can't stay here. I see them all the time. I see them everywhere I go, at the Home Depot, Mexico or Walmart, I see them. They're speaking Spanish. They're talking to themselves. They're in their little huddle in their groups, and they're sticking to themselves. When I went to Mexico last year with my little boy to go Chichen Itza, when we got off the plane, we walked through the single file line with our suitcases, and we pulled out our passports, and we went up to the passport counter, and my little boy was so curious about it because he has a passport now, too. He's 8 years old. He's going to be a world traveler. And the man asked us who we are, where we're going, how long we're going to be there. We paid our $20 each, and we got stamped, and we got entrance into the country. That's Mexico. We got to do the same thing here. You can't break the law. You can't stand on the corner, solicit money from everybody on the corner of St. Charles and I-10. You can't break the little laws, because if you're breaking the little laws, you're breaking the big laws.
Would you agree with 23% of Americans that is the number one problem facing this nation today?
I think it's the biggest problem that we face. They're trying to dilute the voting strength of normal Americans who have created this country and built this country. And the Democrats are very look. They're hardworking, and they're dedicated to their cause, and they don't really care whether they stomp on you to get what they want and keep power. And that's what they're willing to do.
Gary, I want to thank you, my friend, for coming in. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you being open to take calls. Where can our listeners get more information?
GoGaryGovernor.com.
The time to get the latest from Louisiana Radio Network.